Hey guys, it's James. You probably know me as White Noise over on Idmf. So yeah, I'm here to talk about my favorite album and favorite track from the forums, and a little bit about my experience too, I guess. I guess I should start with how I found you all. That was June 2015. I was posting some tracks over on Reddit because I was trying to get feedback on them, and the friends I have in real life were not working out because I don't really know anybody else who makes... Oh, low battery. Anyways, I don't really know anybody else who makes electronic music in real life. So I went to Reddit, and I think I posted a track that I don't have up anymore. But I posted up in the techno forums, and they weren't helpful at all. They just said no drums equals not techno. And I was like, okay, well, I'll try experimental. And I took it over there, and they said, no, this isn't experimental. There's actually like rules and structure to experimental. It's not just a catch-all for whatever you're doing. And I said, well, all right. And then somebody on one of those two posts, I don't remember who it was or where it was, they said, hey, go over to Idmf. They will get you set up right. They'll help you out. This is right up their alley. So I got over to Idmf, and I think in one night there, I learned more than I think I had been making music for a year at that point. I learned more in one night there than I had been able to teach myself in a year. And I was just blown away. I was like, okay, this is the place for me. These guys know what they're talking about. I've seen a few other YouTube tutorials and stuff before, but none of it compared to what was going on there. And I knew I was hooked right away. That said, I was coming from a background where IDM wasn't, and still mostly isn't, my jam. Like, I listened to Aphex Twin's first album that night because it had the question where you have to say its real name. And I was like, okay, well, maybe it's a good idea for me to listen to kind of maybe what this place is all about. And I did, and I like that album. I've since bought it on vinyl. It's a cool album. I don't think it really represents what most of IDM is about, maybe ambient, but not so much IDM as a whole. And certainly it's not most of what I see around the forums. That's not to say that I don't like what I see on the forums. I actually really do enjoy a lot of the stuff. I just don't listen to any of it pretty much outside of what I hear on the forums. Hang on a second. So anyways, joined up, started to figure out what IDM was about, and that where I fit in was much more mainstream than what most of IDMF was after. But I knew I could still learn a lot of the technical stuff that I wanted there. And in the meantime, I could figure out how to do something a little bit different from most of the more mainstream stuff. That's something there where I think I'm almost there now. It's been about 3 years, and I think I'm almost there. And that is in large part thanks to you guys. I think I've only gotten as far as I have because of all the stuff I've been able to learn with you guys, and some of you guys. And I'm not going to name names because I don't know who, but I know some of them have asked specifically not to be mentioned. But some guys have pulled me aside and really said, hey, you want to make a dope track? Do this, 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 and this. And boom, and it was like night and day. And I've had some people in 5 minutes save me probably a year or two of what it would take to get me where I am right now. So yeah, that's a big deal, and I deeply appreciate all the forums have done for me. And yeah, so anyways, favorite track, favorite album. I have not gotten around to listening to most of the back catalog. I've listened to some of the stuff, like kind of clicked through it, that's been posted previously in this thread, but I really have not gotten around to most of the older work. So I've only seen 47, 48, 49 come out. So I don't think I've even seen an individual artist release. Yeah, because even the ones that I went back and listened to, it was mostly the compilations. So I haven't seen much of the individual artist releases at all. So that said, of 47, 48, and 49, my favorite is actually 49. That's because of how short it is compared to 47 and 48. That I think the few artists on there are really well highlighted, and there's really no samey tracks. They really all do stand out, and they're all fantastic tracks. And I think in that thread, I said the thing that I thought while mastering is, man, these are not just good one synth tracks. These are just good tracks, period. And it really blew me away. And I think part of what I like about it is the technical limitation you guys had, coming with only one synth. I think it forced some of you to be more musical than you might otherwise have been, which is something that I really like, coming from a more mainstream approach. And yeah. So tracks 3, 4, and 5 on that, which I think are Post-Tone, DJ Oxygen, and Tasachi. I liked them all a lot, but the one that blew me away, and it was because I made a mistake while mastering it, was Tasachi's Triangulations track, which I think is called Maurice, with like 3 eyes. And that was my favorite track because I had the whole thing mastered based on looping it from like a 4-minute to 5-minute mark. And then I was playing the whole thing through to see what the levels were going to be for the track as a whole, lefts-wise. And when I did that, I hadn't listened to the outro before because I heard it fade and I thought, okay, it's like a minute-long fade, and I don't need to worry about that. I'll just master the loud part and everything else is going to take care of itself. And then I got to that last minute and it damn near blew my brain out of my head. I had to go back and reset some levels for that. So I don't know, maybe that's just it being way too loud. It made it stick in my mind. But I went back and listened to those 3 tracks last night to figure out kind of which one I was going to talk about. And that one, just for that story, is the one that I thought was most worth talking about. But they're all 3 really great tracks. I like them all. And I've had them all stuck in my head since I've been working on them. So, yeah. Idmf 049, track 5. It's probably my favorite track on the label. But I don't have much of a background, and I'm hopefully that's going to change with some of the newer tracks coming out later this year. I think as of a couple months ago, I had heard that there was going to be like 1 EP, I think, coming out later this year. And now suddenly I think we're up to like 5 albums in the latter half of the year, so that's a huge step up. That's a lot more work coming than I expected. But I'm looking forward to seeing what comes out of it. And I'm really interested to start to see some individual artist releases. And yeah. Alrighty, I'm almost done with my walk now, so I gotta wrap this up and get to work. And I'll try and get this up tonight. Laters.